July 1518. The city of Strasbourg. The air is thick with the smell of rot and desperation. A woman named Frau Trophäa steps out of her house. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't scream. She just begins to dance. There is no music. There is no celebration. Her face is a mask of pure agony, but her feet won't stop. She dances until the sun goes down. She dances until her shoes are soaked in blood. And then, she keeps dancing for 6 more days. But the true horror wasn't Frau Trophäa. It was what happened next. Within a week, 34 people joined her. Within a month, 400. An entire city, caught in a silent, rhythmic death march. This isn't a legend. It's a documented medical anomaly that defied the church, the crown, and science itself. Welcome to ObscureAges. Today, we uncover the story, Time Forgot, the Dancing Plague of 1518. To understand the madness, you have to understand the world of 1518. Strasbourg was a city on the edge. Famine had wiped out the crops. Smallpox and syphilis were tearing through the population. The people were living in a state of constant, crushing terror. When the dancing started, the authorities didn't know how to react. They consulted the local physicians. The diagnosis? Hot blood. They believed the victims' brains were literally overheating, and the only way to cure them was to keep them dancing. It sounds like a joke, but the reality was a nightmare. The city council actually hired musicians. They built a massive wooden stage in the center of the market. They even hired strongmen to hold the dancers up as they collapsed from exhaustion, forcing them to stay on their feet. They thought they were helping. In reality, they were building a slaughterhouse. Under the summer sun, the dancers began to die. 15 a day. Strokes, heart attacks, pure physical collapse. They were dancing themselves to death, and the city was cheering them on. For 500 years, historians and scientists have tried to solve the puzzle of Strasbourg. How does an entire population lose control of their own bodies? The first theory is chemical. Ergotism. It's a fungus that grows on damp rye, the main ingredient in medieval bread. Ergot contains alkaloids similar to LSD. It causes tremors, hallucinations, and violent spasms. But there's a flaw in this theory. Ergotism usually cuts off circulation to the limbs. It makes it hard to walk, let alone dance for days on end. And it certainly doesn't explain how hundreds of people could move in a coordinated trance for weeks. That leads us to a darker, more psychological explanation: mass psychogenic illness. Or, as it was known then, St. Vitus's curse. The people of Strasbourg believed that St. Vitus had the power to curse sinners with a dancing plague. In a world of famine and death, the psychological pressure was a ticking time bomb. Frau Trophäa didn't just start a dance. She triggered a collective mental breakdown. A mass delusion born from a level of stress the modern mind can barely imagine. By September, the dancing finally began to slow. The survivors were bundled into wagons and taken to a shrine in the mountains dedicated to St. Vitus. They were given small lead crosses and red shoes. They were led in circles around an altar, praying for their souls to be released from the rhythm. And then, it stopped. As quickly as it began, the fever broke. The city fell silent. The stages were torn down. The bodies were buried. But the questions remained. Was it a fungus? A curse? Or a terrifying glimpse into what happens when the human mind is pushed past its breaking point? The Dancing Plague of 1518 is a reminder that history isn't just a list of dates and kings. It's a collection of shadows, of moments where reality fractured, and the world became something unrecognizable. If you want to keep exploring these shadows, join us. Subscribe to ObscureAges and turn on notifications. We are digging through the archives to find the stories the world tried to bury. I'm your host, and this was a journey into the past. Until next time, keep an eye on the shadows.